Just for those tuning in at the moment, the trophy presentation is set to take place, so I'll clear the graphics so you can see Muscle Warriors being crowned the champions of the 24-25 Optegra Championship. I'll be back on commentary very shortly for the fixture against closely fought rivals GBG Knights. Hello everyone and welcome back to the penultimate fixture of the 24-25 Optegra Championship. And while the trophy has already been claimed, this match still carries real weight and significance. It's the two standout teams of the season, Muscle Warriors versus GBG Knights. Champions versus the runners-up. Two sides across the entire campaign have lifted the level of this division and shown exactly what elite power chair football can look like. Early today, Muscle Warriors secured the title with a commanding performance, their first championship crown in a decade, a landmark moment for the club that has spent years building, rebuilding and pushing to return to the top of the game. I am delighted to be joined on commentary on this one by Muscle Warriors Shay Murray, who has stepped back from playing but must be incredibly proud of what you and your team have done. How are you?
I'm good, Ryan, thank you. Incredible this season.
It really has been, hasn't it? I mean, the levels of consistency you've shown as a collective have been so different to what has happened in years. You've been Muscle Warriors for a long time. And I've referenced it on commentary how there's been 6th place finishes, 8th place finishes, a few 4th place finishes in there. You've never really challenged towards the top in the last decade. But this season, everything's just come together and it's been perfect, hasn't it?
Yeah, just that switch and then now it is.
Absolutely. So we're underway. First versus second. Let's go through the squads. Muscle Warriors have Hannah Hindley, Jacob Vickers, Ricken Shah and Mitchell Goslin. And for GBG Knights, player Reese Mallet in goal, George Holloway, Jack Ewins and Kai Shah. You've obviously played very closely with all these players week in, week out. The levels of consistency from Ricken Shah and Jacob Vickers, them particularly, have raised their standards to such an incredible level.
Yes, Jacob Vickers from last season to now, it's sensational. Jake Van Ricken, yeah. And
the addition of Hannah Hindley as well, in terms of providing that foundation and that defensive structure, has been a game changer, wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, just when you know someone's strong at the back, you can focus your attacking ways, and that's what we've done, and we've shown it.
Absolutely. So this game would be nothing more than a footnote to the outcome. Muscle Warriors have been crowned champions. We just did the awarding and presenting of the trophy. We'll get a nice video compilation out maybe later on today. But both of these teams have been spectacular all season and both deserve to be playing their football in next season's Premiership, where they will undoubtedly test themselves against the very best in the country. But based on what we've seen this season, they'll be more than ready for the challenge. Their rise to the top has been earned, not handed. It's been built on hard work, on squad depth, on togetherness, smart coaching and belief. And your dad has been such a brilliant coach this season. I mean, how has that been for you? Because it's something a little bit different with him taking such a important role as the head coach.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah.
Interesting dynamic for you, because being his son,
you don't get as much.
he certainly doesn't give you any charity, does you? You have to earn your position in the team.
Yep.
And the role that you performed in this title-winning side can't be understated either. 10 assists you got this season,
yeah.
So double digits. Really impressive. Jack Ewins down to Kai Shah. George Holloway looking to wrap up the league's top goal scorer award. It looks almost certain that he will do so. But fairly even in terms of the pressure and the attacking momentum of these two. George Holloway into the centre. Jack Ewins over, trying to pick out Kai Shah, locked up by Rickenshaw. George Holloway now with what I believe is 26 league goals across their 21 league games. So assuming Oscar Mulgrew doesn't secure 6 goals in their game currently on Court A, he will be crowned the top goal scorer. Holloway and Jacob Vickers battling away on the far side. Confirmation of a score and goal on Court A. Teesside still 1-0 up against Hull and East Yorkshire. So even a single point for them in that game would see them confirm their position in third, for which results in a third place playoff against whoever finishes 10th in the Premiership for one single Premiership position. Jacob Vickers over to Mitchell Goslin at the back post. There was calls for him to feature in their earlier game, but he's involved now. The longest servant of Muscle Warriors is Mitchell Goslin, Shay.
Yeah.
9 years. He's been waiting, he's been patient, he's been loyal, and that's paid off. Set piece on the far side. Jacob Vickers to take into the box, intercepted by Reece Mallett. So Hannah Hindley has to drive out to thwart that opportunity for Kai Shah. And now Rickenshaw resumes the attack against Jack Ewins, one of the standout performers of this division. He's been fantastic since he's moved from AFC Bournemouth Warriors. There is a tendency in power chair football for the headlines to go to the goal scorers, to the goal creators, but it's players such as Jack Ewins and Hannah Hindley of Muscle Warriors that perform such brilliant roles that allows them attacking players to thrive, and that opportunity from Jack just wide. 6 minutes played, Muscle Warriors 0, GBG Knights 0. Just waiting for Hannah Hindley to take this goal kick. Into Jacob Vickers, locked up behind him, so Jack Ewins takes possession. Over to Kai Shah, Rickenshaw, sorry. Very start-stop. Kai Shah into George Holloway, who tries to return the favour. Shay, you know the Muscle Warriors squad better than most.
Yeah.
What do you think has made the difference this season compared to the past campaigns?
Probably knowing the defensive with Hannah in the back, and then Jacob Vicker, what happened to him? He's just found another life.
It is a remarkable change from him, isn't it?
Yes.
I mean, we saw it in game week 1, and he's kept up the level since. It's so different to seasons gone by that you're absolutely right to highlight it. A remarkable shift. You're of course not playing, but how does this day compare? Is this right up there in terms of your achievements as a player? It doesn't get much better than this, playing such a crucial role in Muscle Warriors being crowned champions. And Muscle Warriors gave you a real run for your money, didn't they?
Yeah.
Sorry, GBG Knights gave you a real run for your money.
Oh yeah, that. Without a doubt.
Heavy contact there between George Holloway and Rick Shah, just in front of myself and Shay. It goes in the favour of GBG Knights, so they're going to be given a direct free kick right on the edge of the box. Jack Ewins is going to take responsibility. Kai Shah is in the centre. The best opportunity probably all game. Into the centre, guided goal bound, cleared off the line by Hannah Hindley. Jack Ewins just trying to play it off Rickenshaw to win his side the corner, but Rickenshaw's experience doesn't allow that. Coming into this season, Shay, did you believe that a trophy could be possible?
No, we wanted to lift the trophy at the start. If we'd done it, we weren't sure if we could or not, because we said this last season before, and we never completed it.
Yeah.
And yeah, especially with them, the two youngsters, Stan and George, I've just thought a whole nother thing to the game.
It is the perfect amalgamation of experience and youth. Stanley Bull's just come on in place of Mitchell Goslin, and it has just been brilliant. But I've said it on commentary a few times, and I have to apologise to Muscle Warriors for it. I never considered the possibility of you going on to lift the trophy, and that's just based on seasons gone by, and you've always been a middle of the pack operator. You've always been a tough team to beat, but never one that's been consistent across the 22 league game season. Steve Crump having a conversation with Jacob Vickers and Kai Shah in the centre. Very good official, overseeing this with a high level of authority. We've had 10 minutes. It remains goalless between Muscle Warriors and GBG Knights. Close, cagey, as we have seen across the entirety of the season. This is, of course, their last games of the season. Both will take pride knowing that next season the Premiership awaits. Rickenshaw met by Kai Shah. Jacob Vickers to take. Vickers into Stanley Bull, intercepted brilliantly by Kai Shah. Over to George Holloway, slots the ball home. Shay, nod of the head there. It was such a brilliant interception from Kai Shah, it has to be said. Picking off that Jacob Vickers ball, and George Holloway, as he has been all season, clinical in front of goal. Let's get confirmation of that goal. As we have already mentioned, this wouldn't be enough to switch placements. It's just bragging rights on the line. And in the opening 12.5 minute, GBG Knights with the better of the exchanges, and now the scoreline in their favour. Almost certainly wraps up George Holloway as the league's top goal scorer. Jack Ewins bypasses Jacob Vickers. Maybe Muscle Warriors had a little bit too much champagne during the celebrations, Shay.
Yeah.
I think it speaks volumes to your mentality and the shift in expectations that even with the season confirmed, the title wrapped up, you and the team are clearly really disappointed with conceding that goal. Ever the professionals that want to win, irrelevant of the stakes. Just getting an adjustment. Steve Crump talking to Reece Mallett and Kai Shah. Substitute for GBG Knights. Troy Willicomb's come on to adorn that white goalkeeper jersey. Reece Mallett coming off. Obviously, you played many seasons with Reece Mallett.
Yeah.
Was it a shock to you when he announced his decision to depart you?
No, not really.
Just he's looked to get seek an opportunity elsewhere. Yeah. Jack Ewins down the line, blocked by Jacob Vickers, across the court, intercepted by Jacob Vickers, nearly into the path of Stanley Ball. Out of play for a GBG Knights ball. 5.5 minutes to go. Muscle Warriors nil, GBG Knights 1. If you want to know how close these two are in the standings, a potential 3 points for GBG Knights would mean just 2 points separate them at season's end. Ewins into Kai Shah. Stanley Ball just cushions it out of play. Out of play. Kai Shah desperately trying to squeeze that ball through that defensive wall of Muscle Warriors, comprised of Stanley Ball, Rickenshaw and Hannah Hindley. Shah with the corner ball into Jack Ewins, pick off, effort, guided goal bound, blocked by Rickenshaw. I have to say that Muscle Warriors not really having much success in way of attacking pressure. This is the most territory they've had probably in the box of GBG Knights all half. Stanley Ball trying to get the better of Troy Willicombe, but the latter comes away with the kick in. So Jack Ewins to take. What's been your standout highlight of the season, Shay? Because you had some sensational assists.
That's a tough one.
Any particular games, moments, goals?
Goals?
How many goals have you got? Is it just the one goal?
I've got one goal.
Who did that come against? Do you remember?
GBG Knights. That was against...
That's not bad at all, is it? To score against the now runners-up.
Yeah, and then it's tough. Like, I think best goal we've probably scored was the one against GBG Knights when Rick and Shah full spun it.
Yeah,
into that. That was a good goal.
Yeah, very good goal. I remember it fondly.
Yeah,
and it's proved to be the difference. That was such an important win for you in game week 3, sorry. And that's one of the contributing factors to Muscle Warriors lifting that trophy. So you'll have a nice shiny medal coming your way, Shay.
Yeah.
Wrapped around your neck. You coming to the awards night?
Yes.
Then I will take pleasure in being there, being present to see you and your team celebrate what has been an incredible season. He deserves so much credit and praise. It's been years in the making, but it's well earned. I think that's why you're seeing Mitchell Goslin be so ecstatic. He's so happy.
Yeah. And
he joined, I think, during the season. So Muscle Warriors won the championship in 2014, 2015. Then they were promoted to the Premiership, and I think that was Mitchell Goslin's first season as a player. And then that resulted in relegation. And since then, Mitchell and the club as a whole have been chasing this dream, this goal of being a Premiership side or being a champion once again. It's taken 10 years, but you finally got there, Shay.
Finally got it.
George Holloway's just waiting to make contact. It ricochets kindly to Jack Ewins on the edge, but the spin on the ball presents an opportunity to Jacob Vickers, who fires it out to Stanley Bull. Starting to get their passes going as Stanley Bull just hesitates at the last moment. It didn't necessarily have the angle to threaten Troy Willicombe, but that's the best spell of pressure I think Muscle Warriors have had all game. Out of play from Stanley Bull. Final 15 seconds. What do you think Alan will say at the half-time break, with things not necessarily going in Muscle Warriors' way, to try and get some energy into this side?
It's only 1-0. Hope to fight for it now. 1-0. It's not like...
It's far from over. It's still
it's far from over. You've got 20 minutes left.
It's still very competitive. There's no question about that. And their goal, maybe, depending on what lens you look at it through, came from a mistake, came from a lapse in concentration. I wouldn't say that GBG Knights have had more quality necessarily than the Muscle Warriors. It's been very cagey, but they capitalised on the chance that they did have, and that would be the advice, I think. Just making sure, if you're Muscle Warriors, that you do the same if and when the opportunities present themselves. Jacob Vickers with a very late corner ball, goes through the gap. George Holloway set away, but couldn't make connection with that 180. It just nicks off the back of his chair. We're now approaching a minute over the regulation 20. Jack Ewins into Kai Shah, guides it goal bound. Hannah Hindley there to receive. Contact between the two chairs as Kai Shah's effort just wide of the right hand post. Goal kick for Muscle Warriors. Live on court A. Teesside Steel have all but wrapped up their position as third in the league. There's a beautiful control from Rickenshaw here. Goes out for a corner. Very late opportunity, approaching 2 minutes over the 20. Stanley Bull into the box. Jacob Vickers there to receive off the left-hand post. The best opportunity for Muscle Warriors all game. Probably the last action. The whistle was in the mouth of Steve Crump. As we're now over the 22-minute mark, we're going to get one last chance. Stanley Bull coming from the right to the left to take another corner kick. He's actually been brilliant this season as a whole, for an inexperienced player as well.
For his first ever season.
I know.
To now, like, wow.
Jacob Vickers. And that is the half-time break. Same with George Shippey.
Yeah. First season and going straight, win champion, being the champions and going into Prem in second season.
Absolutely.
That's something to say.
Absolutely it is. But thank you to all that are tuning in, to myself and Shay. We will be back very shortly for the second half. Muscle Warriors versus GBG Knights. Hello everyone and welcome back to the penultimate game of the 24-25 Optegra Championship season, where you join myself, Ryan Sipple, alongside Shay Murray for Muscle Warriors versus GBG Knights. Not necessarily going in Muscle Warriors' favour, is it? But one that I have no doubt they're going to try and change in the second half.
Yeah, yes. I can't say it. Definitely they will.
Yeah. So it looks as if the teams are unchanged from that finished the first half. So when you're referencing Muscle Warriors, Hannah Hindley in goal, Ricken Shah in the centre, Jacob Vickers on the left of your screen, so the right of Muscle Warriors, and Stanley Ball on the alternate wing as Kai Shah picks up where he left off in the first, trying to squeeze the ball between that Muscle Warriors defence. GBG Knights comprised of Troy Willicombe, Jack Ewins, Kai Shah and George Holloway. Hannah Hindley with the goal kick. Into Rickenshaw, over to Stanley Ball. Locked up by Jack Ewins. It's a great battle between Stanley Ball and Jack Ewins, resuming in the centre. What would you say, Shay, has been the best element of Muscle Warriors this season? Would you say it's the defence? You've only conceded, what, 3 goals all season?
Yeah.
Or would you say it's the attack and the flair of Jacob Vickers and Rickenshaw? What do you think would be more important?
Defence, because if you haven't got the defence, attacking won't matter, because they could score a bunch of goals in defence.
I think for that we owe a lot of praise to Hannah Hindley, don't you think? She's been so good at the back, such a calming presence, and she's provided that foundation for them attacking players to benefit.
To focus on.
Yeah, I mean, to have conceded only 3 goals all season, that is unheard of.
Yes.
Let me have a look to see how many goals you conceded last season. You finished 6th in the division and you conceded 21 goals. So round about a goal a game. That's still not a bad record. And that's what I've said on commentary. Defensively, you've always been a very good side. It's that goal scoring and that goal creation which has probably been more of a challenge. But if we're referencing the 24-25 season, prior to this game kicking off, 43 goals scored, just 3 conceded, which further makes GBG Knights' goal scoring record as Jacob Vickers lines up a shot cleared on the line by Jack Ewins. Great opportunity, the best of the game for Muscle Warriors.
They're knocking on their door now.
They absolutely are. Again, we speak about Jacob Vickers and the levels that he's showing. Such a threat in front of goal. But back to GBG Knights. Speaking about how impressive Muscle Warriors' record is, GBG Knights prior to this game had scored 76 goals and only conceded 10. So plus 66 goal difference, the most impressive in the entire National League, as Kai Shah fires an effort into the wall of Muscle Warriors, comprised of Jacob Vickers and Hannah Hindley. Ricken Shah trying to break away. Into Jacob Vickers. Whistle in the mouth of Steve Crump. 2-on-1 in favour of GBG Knights. I don't think Ricken Shah's best pleased with that. a real competitor, isn't he? Was just having a conversation off air with Jeff Lewis, and Rickenshaw is up one of the only players that have won both the WFA Cup and the Championship. I think we think only one other player has done it, that being Nicky Baker of Villa Rockets Lions. So GBG Knights edging their way slowly down the court. They've got an indirect free kick here to take. Jack Ewins with responsibility. George Holloway to his right. Kai Shah to the left, closely marked by Stanley Ball. Into Kai Shah, who attempts the effort. A brilliant goal from Kai Shah. The initial set piece from Jack Ewins. Jacob Vickers was drawn out of position. And Kai Shah doubles the advantage. You question what the game plan will be now, Shay.
Yeah, it is either pushing full on or giving the people who hasn't had that much game time.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, we've won it.
And that's what it's worth saying that again. This is nothing more than a footnote. The result doesn't change the outcome of the season.
No.
It's more about bragging rights. But you can both say, should the result stay as it currently is, you've had a win over the other across the 24-25 season. So roll on that battle next season in the Premiership. Substitute for Muscle Warriors. They brought George Shippey on in place of Stanley Ball. And a double change for GBG Knights. Reece Mallet back on in place of Troy Willicombe. And on the right, Oscar Smedley on in place of George Holloway. George Holloway going to be the league's top goal scorer, but when you're referencing the assists, that is a stat and a rule currently owned by Oscar Smedley, who, if this table is correct, is on 24, with Jamil Khan in second on 16. So it will be a double for GBG Knights on the top goal scorer and playmaker awards. So congratulations to them. Jacob Vickers into Rickenshaw. Nice snappy passes. Finds George Shippey set away on this left-hand side as you're viewing it. But too much pace for Rickenshaw to control. Jack Ewins does well to restrict it. George Shippey, 2-on-1 in favour of GBG Knights. Ewins into Kai Shah, over to Oscar Smedley. Blocked by Jacob Vickers, but Smedley attempts an effort on goal. And I think Steve Crump has pointed to the penalty spot, Shay. So an opportunity for GBG Knights to go 3 goals up. Something that I'm sure will make you laugh is the potential taker of this penalty. Reece Mallet has advanced up the court to take responsibility against his former side. So Reece Mallet will take. Hannah Hindley will have the task of trying to prevent it. He lines up and saved brilliantly by Hannah Hindley initially, but I think, Shay, it's been brought back to be retaken due to Hannah Hindley leaving the spot prior to the ball being struck. So Reece Mallett is going to be given another opportunity.
Is there VAR?
And at the second time of asking, Reece Mallett does convert. 30 minutes into this fixture, it is Muscle Warriors 0, GBG Knights 3. George Holloway, met by Rickenshaw. George Shippey to Rickenshaw. Down the court to Jacob Vickers. The first bit of pressure. Reece Mallett called into defensive duties. Reece Mallett and Jacob Vickers down into this bottom left-hand corner. Straight out from Jacob Vickers. Not necessarily the quality we've come to expect of him this season. That attempt straight out of play. Please disregard the score on the stream. Muscle Warriors do trail by 3-0 as we get a substitute. Muscle Warriors, a double change. Mitchell Goslin and Stanley Ball on in place of Rickenshaw and Jacob Vickers. Down to Stanley Ball, playing in the centre. A roll.
And this game's probably for like seeing for next season trial and stuff.
You have to, don't you?
Yeah.
When you know there's nothing at stake beyond bragging rights, you need to use these opportunities to experiment and trial with people and players like Stanley Ball taking position in the centre. But it'll be very intriguing to see how these two fare as Jack Ewins fires an effort goal bound. Just wide of the left-hand post. Have to say, GBG Knights have been impressive this game, but you do question, had there been more at stake, more on the line for Muscle Warriors, would we have seen a different approach to the game? There is a psychological dilemma that presents itself, knowing that you've already won the trophy, knowing that you don't have to overexert yourself.
Yeah,
they've clearly relaxed. There isn't that nervousness, there isn't that anticipation that would have been the case if this was a decider. So a corner kick for GBG Knights. Into the box, and Jack Ewins guides it over the line. This is fairly emphatic stuff from GBG Knights. Head in your hands there, Shay. It's not necessarily going the way you would have wanted for your side, but you have to almost commend the effort of GBG Knights. They know that they can't change the outcome of the ultimate trophy, but they're doing a fantastic job. Let's get confirmation of that goal scorer. It's yet another assist for Oscar Smedley. Now on what I believe is his 25th of the season. That is truly unprecedented for someone competing in their first ever National League season. The same can be said for Stanley Ball and George Shippey, Shay. The levels they've produced, the goals and the assists they have to their names, it's really encouraging, and the future is very bright, isn't it?
Yes, without a doubt. Keep improving their game season. God knows where they'll be.
Substitute for GBG Knights, Jack Ewins, the most recent goal scorer, off. Troy Willicombe on to test his ability up top. Fairly unfamiliar than one we've come to be used to of him adorning the goalkeeper jersey. Attempt on goal directly from his introduction. Just trying to understand the referee's decision. I think free kick for Muscle Warriors will resume play. Muscle Warriors 0, GBG Knights 4. Oscar Smedley dispossesses. Down to Hannah Hindley. Flicked to George Holloway, the top assist provider and the top goal scorer, connecting nicely on that right hand wing, out for a goal kick. Hannah Hindley down to Stanley Bull, over to George Shippey. Not often have we had the pleasure of watching George Shippey and Stanley Bull combining together. Yeah. They normally take each other's places if and when they're used on the court. Into the final moments as George Shippey just cushions it back into the danger zone. George Holloway resumes the pressure. It's Hannah Hindley, the most advanced she's been all game, out of play. What a way for GBG Knights to sign off their season. The title may already be decided, but this performance says a lot about who they are as a team, full of quality, energy and pride in how they play the game. They have been one of the standouts. As we're going to see George Holloway attempted effort, ricochets off the right hand post, past Hannah Hindley. A brilliant goal. This is really difficult for your first game on commentary, Shay.
Yeah.
To be overseeing a very emphatic performance from GBG Knights. Troy Willicombe with the assist. George Holloway with another finish. Nice work from Troy Willicombe to create that goal. Been a tough one for today, Shay, for Muscle Warriors, but it's impressive from GBG Knights, isn't it? They have pushed you all season long.
Yeah.
And if you're going to take the trophy, the least you can do is give them a nice convincing win to cap off their brilliant season.
They drop points and then we drop points. It's that.
Down the court, final few minutes. Mitchell Goslin. Over to George Holloway. One thing is for certain, had this been a title decider, it would not be 5-0 to GBG Knights. It would be far more conservative, more contained. It probably would have been a very difficult game to both play in and watch because of what's at stake. So, good thing for Muscle Warriors that the title was wrapped up prior to this game taking place. Troy Willicombe, intercepted by Mitchell Goslin. Flicked to the centre, Stanley Bull controls. Nice battle here between the two number 10s of Muscle Warriors and GBG Knights, Stanley Bull and Oscar Smedley respectively. And we are now approaching the final minute. It will be an emphatic victory for GBG Knights. But that does not change the fact that Muscle Warriors are the 24-25 Optegra Championship winners. You're miming me, Shay. It's got a nice ring to it, hasn't it?
Yeah.
George Shippey trying to bypass George Holloway. Reversed into the path of Mitchell Goslin. we're thinking about players of the match, it'll be hard to look past the contributions and the goals of George Holloway, the influence of Kai Shah and Jack Ewins. Yeah. I'll let the audience decide, but either way, a brilliant performance from GBG Knights. Final 10 seconds.
But Musselwhite's perspective, don't know what it was. Like Jake Vicker hasn't ticked.
He hasn't. That is very true. Certainly compared to the levels he's shown across the season.
Yeah.
But you have mentally switched off. I don't think Alan Murray's going to be best pleased with that, because he would have wanted them to come here and produce a performance. But you can forgive them for switching off slightly, because their ultimate ambition and goal of securing the title has been achieved. Exactly. So that's Muscle Warriors 0, GBG Knights 5. A great performance from the runners-up. Both will be competing in next season's Premiership. Thank you, Shay. It's been brilliant commentating alongside you, and honestly, congratulations on a sensational season. I look forward to celebrating with you at the end of season awards.